All right.
And
we made it.
We are
Yes,
here.
right on. Just a couple minutes past, but it is all good. It is Tuesday, July 25th. This is HALENVILLE Live, and we are on the internet with the OU812 channel and crew also.
Right on, right on.
Streaming on YouTube and Facebook.
Cheers,
Guys,
cheers.
Ryan, John, R2, Trev, welcome, fellas.
Thank you for
Thanks
having
for
us.
having us, Tony, for sure.
Thanks for having us, brother.
Yeah, you guys are awesome.
Truly
Thank you, my friend.
No, you're awesome, Charles.
Oh no.
Oh, yes,
I'll
yes,
tell
yes.
the chat right now. This is really a lot of fun for me. I love all of these guys. This is really cool. Very
We're
cool. Good to see
happy to be here. We're gonna have a lot of fun tonight.
Yeah.
I think so.
Absolutely.
We are. We are so thankful to have Ryan and his crew here. We're multi-streaming. And so fitting, I think, Ryan, we spoke about this a while ago. We're the same age. We have the same size just for a day, just for today.
I know.
Mm-hmm.
As far as our subscribers,
Yes, sir.
we have exactly the same number. It wasn't like that yesterday, and it won't be like that tomorrow.
Well, hopefully tomorrow both of us will have a few more. So I'd like to encourage everybody that's on my channel, hop over here and give a sub to Mr. Fruitcake Tony, say hello. And
That's right.
anybody on Fruitcake Tony's channel that hasn't checked out mine yet, jump on over there and give me a sub, and let's see if we can get both of us up to 1,000 pretty quick.
Yeah.
That'd be awesome.
Excellent.
Right.
Yeah.
It's going to be a party.
That's right.
Now, if it should come to the point where you guys both hit 1,000 at the same within a day or two, I think we should have another party. I'm just saying.
Sounds like a plan to me.
That would be super cool.
Sounds like a
Super
festival.
cool, Trev.
Right
Yeah.
on.
We're going to have a party regardless.
We're going to have a party tonight.
That's
Let's
right.
do it.
We are. So we have gathered here today to we are gonna explain and let you hear exactly what a wet, dry, wet tone is. We know, but we are really gonna know. Ryan is gonna explain, and I am looking forward to this. Yeah. Ryan, ever since you started live streaming, I've been a fan. All of us have, dude.
I appreciate it.
Yeah.
It's been fun, that was the main thing, for me, guitar playing was always about coming down here and hitting some chords and just getting the biggest grin on my face. And for years, I've always loved Live Without a Net, and then Balance and the For Unlawful Carnal Knowledge stuff and all that tone that he had from 84 and on. And that was kind of my goal, was to get something close to that. And I think that I've achieved pretty close to it. It's not exact. None of us have Eddie's fingers, so it's not going to sound the same. But to be able to play guitar and just grin while you're doing it like Eddie did, the joy that he had when he played, that just transfers to people that are watching it. And I'm hoping to relay just a little bit of that with sharing it on YouTube. And I've already had great response from a lot of people. John was one. He was like, man, you got to help me get my rig set up. So you're getting a little taste of his right now. And people messaging me on Facebook and through YouTube, and got questions, and I try to help most, best I can. But just to have people say, man, you've inspired me to go upstairs and play my guitar, that just, it brings the smiles. So that's what it's all about for me. Just getting on here and having fun, and hopefully making some other people smile and inspired to pick up their guitar and play. And hopefully we'll do that tonight.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well said, man.
Well said.
Every time I hear you play, every time you put anything out, Ryan, and I noticed this from the start, and as well as all of us, I was going to say others, but hell, all of us, is the incredible tone that you get, man. I mean, there's on YouTube, there's a lot of great players, and there's people that have a lot of great tone, but that 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 tone that you achieve, wow.
Well, I appreciate it. And you know, there's a
your attention.
There's a lot
grabs
of
the attention.
You know, I've never claimed to be the best player. You know, I know little bits and pieces of different songs, and you know, if I got a song that I really want to work out, you know, I'll sit and I'll work on it, and I'll play through it, and I'll do it to the best of my ability. But you know, there's a lot of really great players out there. But like you said, one of the things with, and I'm not putting down modelers or anything like that. You know, there's some
go
guys
ahead,
that have,
do that.
no,
Please.
there's guys that have channels and they have great, you know, tone with their modeler, but there is nothing like a tube amp in a wet, dry, wet setup that that compares. There's nothing that compares. So,
Yeah.
Well, I guess the big question is where to begin.
well,
What's your journey, Ryan? What year did? Can I ask a couple of real, just preliminary questions for maybe people who don't know, and I don't know you nearly as well as I want to. When did you start playing guitar? What age?
I think I was must have been 15 or 16.
Okay.
Because I remember, you know, 5150 was out, and I was in 9th grade at the time, listening to that, and you know, especially stuff like Summer Nights and Get Up. Those songs grabbed my attention. You know, I had heard Van Halen stuff before, and I liked it, and I'd heard Eruption, and I was like, oh man, what is that? I just like anybody else, I didn't know how in the hell was he doing that on a guitar. When I saw Live Without a Net, that was it. That was it. I was like, I got to be able to do some of that. And that's what inspired me. Went out. My oldest brother had played guitar for quite some time. And, you know, I had seen a bar chord and that type of stuff. But that's what really inspired me to go and get my own guitar and start learning. And the first thing I, you know, started trying to learn was Eruption. You know, start with the easy stuff, right?
You were chasing a tone at a very
I was chasing it,
early
man.
age, right?
I was chasing it. And watching Live Without a Net, and just the sound that he was getting, the joy that was on his face as he was playing, it just so inspired me. So that's kind of, you know, where I decided to, you know, pick up a guitar and start going. And you know, that was kind of always the tone that really had an impression on me, was Live Without a Net, which was actually a stereo setup. It wasn't wet, dry, wet. But still, you know, when it's mixed and you're hearing it through, it sounds very similar. But that's really what inspired me, was Live Without a Net, for sure.
It's impressed me that you've actually been able to get to where you are right now, from just simply being a young kid and hearing a tone and chasing it. And this is what But I did jump ahead, and let me apologize, Tony. I'm so sorry, man. We gotta recognize the
it's all good.
I'm so sorry, man.
What we are going to do before we all get ahead of ourselves, it's going to be easy to do tonight, because I got right question. But I hate to say open up my chat, but we're going to open up our chat.
Our chat. There we go.
Yeah, so these chats are in fact linked. I see the people making comments on Ryan's channel and vice versa.
Oh my goodness.
So let's open it up and see what we got.
We got lots.
How about
look at all these.
Guitar Man 45.
Right there, brother. Right on, bro.
Right on.
What's going on, man?
See you, Bo.
Cheers.
Joe Hervey 84. What's up, dude?
It's good to see you, Joe. Right on, man.
There's
Right on.
where is he at? There's Kurt. Kurt.
Right on,
Kurt.
Good
What's
to
up,
see
Pepe?
you. Mitch Heyman's in the house. What's up,
Mitch.
Mitch?
Good to see you, Mitch. Right
Good
on.
to see Mitch.
The Lawnmower Tapes is in the house.
Right there,
Good
Lawnmower.
to see you.
Rock,
Jay Santiago's here.
Hey, Jay, right on, bro.
Hey, Jay.
Good to see you,
Right
bro.
on. Scott Brockway in the house. What's up, Scott? Good to see
Hey,
you,
Scott.
sir.
What's up, Scott?
Graphite and Cigars, right on.
Hey,
Nice.
right on, brother. Good to see you.
Bryce Regal in the house, Charles.
What's up,
man.
Bryce?
Hey, right on, bro.
Cheers, Bryce.
Guitar 1952, right on. Good
Right
to
on, bro.
see you.
Right on. Welcome to Halenville, you guys.
All right. There's our bro, Andy Carson,
Andy Carson, brother.
Station 5.
You rock, Andy. Right on, bro.
And Rob Blackmore, official. Good to see Rob, always.
Right on, bro. You rock, brother.
All right.
What's up, Rob?
Cool Breeze is hanging out. What's up,
Love
Cool
it.
Breeze?
Right on, Cool Breeze.
Makes me
Going on,
feel
Cool Breeze.
fine.
And the guys at Under the Bus, right
Uh-oh.
on.
Right there, you guys. Right
Good
there.
to see you guys, man.
Right
Hey,
on,
rock.
right on.
Hey, rock.
Papa Blue, right there.
Right on, Papa.
Six Finger Assault, right on.
Hey,
Good to see
what's
you.
What's up, Miles?
What's up, Miles?
Hey, Miles.
All right, I'm scrolling up. I'm going to scroll down. If you're just joining, say hello in the chat. It's Tuesday night. This is Halenville Live, cross streaming with OU812 and their crew. And we're minus Ed. Ed is a little under the weather, but
Feel better, Ed. You rock,
sends
brother.
his
Miss
best.
you.
Hope you feel better, bro.
Right on.
Miss you, Ed.
Can I give just a quick shout out to my channel members that I see in my chat? Guitar Man 45, Scott Brockway, Rob Blackmore Official. Who else did I see? John Shane, Six Fingered Assault. I know Kurt 5150. Stephen Franklin. Big shout out to the channel members. It's hard for me to see them all because we're doing the cross stream and I am on Tony's channel. So
Yeah.
big shout out to our channel members.
Yeah.
Appreciate all of you.
Right on,
Hats
you
off
guys.
to you guys.
You rock.
Right on.
Also, Boner Jams jumped in.
Uh-oh.
What's up, Boner?
What's up, Boner?
The Hitman, Dwight Bailey.
And
Right
Dwight.
there, brother.
Ah.
Love you,
Yeah.
Dwight.
I see him. Right on.
Good to see you guys, man.
Nice.
We got a nice bunch of cool cats in the chat.
All right.
I see Mr. CC there too. What's up, CC?
You see, right on, bro.
Somebody else. Dennis Ellis. What's up, Dennis?
Hey,
See you,
Dennis.
sir.
What's up,
Welcome to
Dennis?
Halenville,
And
bro.
there she is. There's Patty Deal.
Hey, Patty.
Patty in the chat.
What's up, Patty?
Right on.
Patty.
Good to see you.
Good to see you, Patty.
Nice. All right. Am I missing anyone? I'm not.
Well,
I
saw
think they're
Quentin
just going
James
to keep
in the
rolling
chat.
in, Tony.
See,
They're
right
rolling
on,
in.
bro.
We got Quentin saying, me.
If you're watching on the OU812 channel, welcome. If you're watching here on Halenville, welcome. We're cross streaming. If you're on one, be sure to visit the other.
Absolutely. Yep.
We
Keep
Also,
jumping back and
French
forth. Jumping back and forth and make
I
sure
got
you
them both
sub.
opened up here.
That's what I'm
Right
doing.
on.
I got
Right on.
both windows open right now.
Appreciate everybody.
But it's
Oh, hey, you can catch Ryan Hall.
Ryan Hall.
Can't miss Ryan Hall, brother. Right on, bro.
Brother Ryan.
Right on, bro.
my music in law,
Nice.
brother Ryan.
Yeah,
Good to see you, Ryan. The other
Right on,
Ryan.
Ryan. The other Ryan.
yeah.
I need to take 10 minutes and pop out, pick up my kid from the bus stop.
Yeah, all good, brother.
I'm going to watch on here, but I'll just do this here and mute
All right.
Right
myself
on.
here.
Right on.
All right.
We'll see you in a few, man. Be safe.
All right. So welcome everybody. We'll probably take a break about the hour mark and go to the fridge and do some nearly impossible Van Halen trivia.
Oh, yeah.
Right on. Right on.
And hey, for tonight, before I forget, nearly impossible Van Halen trivia is gonna score you will toss you $1,000,000 for
Nice.
starters.
Nice.
Everybody needs dough, and we'll chunk you a balance
look
pass
at
for
that.
95.
Very nice.
How about it?
Fuck yeah, man. Hell yeah.
Sweet.
The answer is 4, in case anybody's wondering.
All righty. All right, so I have the first big question, Ryan.
Yes, sir.
All right. So, what is important before we start to break each one down? What is important about the sound? Because a lot of us have heard this for years now, but I know that some of us don't play guitar, but what is so important to Eddie's tone? What is this wet, dry, wet? What makes it so important?
Well, one of the things that he had always said, the reason he did it was if there was ever an issue, he would have his dry tone always there. So that's kind of the main thing with the wet, dry, wet, is that not only does it prevent you from having issues if something fails with effects, you still have guitar signal and tone, but it also preserves that dry tone so that the clarity of the guitar is there. And then when you add in the wet effects, you just get this huge, glorious sound of guitar. So that was really, I think, one of the most important things for him. And also, one of the things with wet, dry, wet is when you're a single guitar player in a band and you're playing live, it really fills up everything because it's just so huge. It's a big sound. But I think the real important thing about the wet, dry, wet is you preserve that dry signal in the middle without getting it muddied up, basically.
Now, compared to a stereo rig, which Eddie evolved from to this, he went from stereo to this.
Yep.
He had essentially in his stereo rig, he was running, correct me if I'm wrong, because I really want to get this right, you guys, because I don't know everything about this. Was he running effects through both effects of his stereo rig? Or was one still dry and one wet?
No, he was still doing a left and right, separation of it. Yeah.
Okay.
Especially with the harmonizers, he would have a plus on one side and a minus on the other, and that's what really, creates that huge tone.
So it gave him to expand on that concept, that sound that's being put out there, you're hearing essentially it's stereo, so you're hearing two different tones. What is the element of the third tone, which is now another element of wet? Do you change up the effects on the third wet as well? Do you dial those parameters back, or do you try to balance things out? I'm curious.
Well, see, that's just the thing is there's only, and wet, dry, wet is kind of a misconception of how it's named, because you really set it up to how it sounds best to you. And I think, in all honesty, I think that Ed ran some dry signal in his wet cabinets. I don't think it was 100% wet. Yeah,
I can confirm that by the SDE 3000 video that Pete put out. There was at least 15% dry in his wet cabs as well.
How much R2?
15, John, not R2. Jesus Christ, Charles.
I'm sorry, John.
Well, he's halfway across the country. He can't see you.
He's got the last mistake I'm going to make tonight, guys.
So it's really a setup to your taste. If you like 50% wet and 50% dry in your outer cabinets, by all means do it. the wet, dry, wet, name just indicates that you're running a signal up the middle, and then you're adding most of your post effects or all of your post effects on your left and right channels. So to put a wet, dry, wet in kind of the simplest terms, and I think John would agree, is if you just imagine taking your guitar and, any kind of amp that you've got, if you got a half stack, just take your guitar and plug it into the front. There's your dry signal, right?
Done.
That's it. That's it. That's your dry.
Nothing more simple. That's it.
If you have effects that you like in front of the amp, then that would go in your dry signal chain as well. So like I've got
flangers, your flangers, your wahs.
I've got a wah here, an EVH phase 90, and then I have an EVH flanger, which is in the front of my amp. So that's part of my dry signal
path.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, these are modulation effects, guys, and why wouldn't you put them through the loop? Is there a looper in the back of that head? Why are you
there is an effects loop in there, but I don't use that.
You're not using it.
Not using it.
Use it.
So
because
left to right.
Can I answer that, or you got it right?
Go ahead.
So when you do that, it places the effects post your preamp section.
Okay.
And it's a different sound, right? So what Eddie always used to do with these effects back in the day was he would go straight into the front of a plexi because they didn't have a effects loop. Mm-hmm. And same with his Echoplex and all that stuff. Mm-hmm. And it would be processed through the preamp and the power amp section. So it gives it a completely different sound.
Okay.
Whereas with the Eventide and delays that we run, those go even post power output even. So they're cleaner. They're much cleaner, and they're totally controllable, right?
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And
so you put
go ahead.
There's no rule. So if you like your phase in the effects loop or in your wet dry wet setup, put it in there. It's fine.
Yeah. Yep. So
but
basically, basically anything that you would normally run in your effects loop of your amp, you're separating that out, and then you're able to run it in stereo with the power amp or however it is that you're doing. You're plugging into the returns of 2 more amps. See, I don't run it this way, but I technically, I've got 3 amps back here.
Yes.
So I could technically run my left and right into the power section of those outer amps, over there. Mm-hmm. So I don't do it that way. I run it into a separate power amp that's in the rack back there.
Okay. And
so it's all about what you have, how you can do it, and what sounds best to you. But typically, in a nutshell, wet, dry, wet is whatever you would plug in front of your amp, that's your dry signal. And then however you get your signal out of that and into your processed left and right, there's a plethora of different ways to do it. I do it differently than what John does. There's other people that will take those left and right effects and they'll put them in series with each other. So the delay affects the detune or whatever effects they're running. And then there's other people that will do it like I do, and they separate those out so that they're running in parallel instead of
I
series.
do the same thing, yeah.
Yep. And that tends to give a little more pristine kind of
I was going to say, doesn't
sound.
that define
Yeah.
each sound? It'll define each one.
So your delay is not affecting your detune sound. Your detune is not affecting your reverb if you run that. All of those sounds are mixed into your dry signal to whatever mix that you want, and you can really dial in whatever tone that you want. So
I think the most basic way of saying it, a wet dry wet setup is a stereo rig with a dry amp down the middle.
Yes.
Really, that's it. There's a million different ways to get there, which we'll get into tonight. Mm-hmm. But it's a stereo setup with a nice dry, and that's what gives you the definition and the ability to be able to play so wet.
Yep.
But with so much definition.
Yep. And me personally, I like a little more dry in my outer cabinets, and that's how I run mine.
Because you like the tone of the amps you're playing through.
It just sounds better to me. So there's all kind of different ways too, and I mentioned a minute ago, it depends on how you get the signal out. I had read some information a long time ago, and I think a lot of this is credited back to the Bradshaw rigs that were out. And I've read information that Steve Lukather is the one that kind of turned Eddie onto the wet, dry, wet setup. I don't know if there's truth to that, but I've seen that in several different areas that he recommended it to him, recommended Bob Bradshaw, and that's where the wet, dry, wet rig came from. But I've read information from back in the day that what they used to do was they would take a speaker and mic it, and they would run that to a mixer and then run a signal of that mic'd speaker into the effects. And they liked the way that sounded better. Instead of taking, a direct out from the back of the head, you've got a effects send, and some people will take that and they'll run that to their rack effects or whatever. I always thought that sounded kind of shrill, almost like running a modeler without an IR on it. So my choice item that I use to get my signal from the head, it's a little Palmer unit. And we all know that Eddie used a Palmer rack unit from time, I don't know exactly when it was in and when it was out. But that Palmer is a speaker emulated tap. So it sounds like a mic'd speaker when you take that tap off of the head. And then that's what I use to feed to my effects. And I think that it sounds a little more full. I've had speaker taps that have come from Dave Friedman, and it just takes a signal and runs it off, and it's not speaker emulated. And to me, it just didn't sound quite right. So that's the whole... There's so many different ways that you can try to set your rig up. It's just all about what sounds best to you. But like John said, it's simply just dry cabinet in the middle and a stereo on the outside.
We were kicking around the idea the other day, this Marshall cab stereo, and the PV is mono, so I've technically got 3 banks, but I can't separate my left and right. I can't really stack them because they're both slant cabs. I might do a front and back and just try and get a power amp and see what kind of BS ghetto setup I can come up with.
Yeah, you'd be surprised what you can do with just minimal equipment.
There's actually cabs out there that do your wet cabs. I can't remember the name of the company, but Pete Thorne did a demo on them, and and they make it super simple. But you've got a 212 cab, and those are your wet speakers, right?
Yep. Yeah, you could do a wet, dry, wet with simply just a combo amp and then a couple of 1x12s. You just need some type of a way to get the signal off of the amp, and then get it split into your stereo effects, and then a small power amp. They make little small power amps that you can put on a pedal board, and you can power your 2 1x12. So there's all kinds of different ways that you can get to it. But to answer that question of what a wet, dry, wet is, like John said, it's just simply stereo on the outside and a dry signal in the middle. That's it.
And it's fucking glorious.
It's fucking glorious. I love it.
Yeah. Well, there are a lot of people, Ryan, on YouTube that put Van Halen stuff out, and great players and great tones. But the tone that you got since you started putting it's as close to Eddie from 1995 onward as I've ever heard here on YouTube.
I appreciate that. I've worked pretty hard on it, a lot of research, and trying to get some of the same equipment that he used. Some of it's not quite the same. The little Palmer that I've got is just a little small speaker tap, but it does kind of the same thing. It gets the same signal. I would
almost argue, though, that Ryan's tone is about as close to Eddie's 1986 tone on, minus the EL34 head, really, because you have all those things.
Yeah, and and there's different tweaks that you can do to it to make it sound a little bit more. Like if I wanted more of a balance sound, I could go and I could set the detune settings from, +9, -9. I could run those up to +12, -12, and you'd get a
And
bigger.
what is that specifically going to do, Ryan? Is it going to clean up the tone? Is it going to?
No, it just it gives you more of that widening sound.
Widening chorusy sound.
So okay, let me put it this way as an example. When guitarists are recording, a lot of times, the producer may say, "Okay, that was great. Let's do another take with another amp. Let's double the guitars." So when they double the guitar, and they're playing along to their previous track, it's never quite the same timing, but they're keeping in rhythm, but it makes the guitar sound bigger.
Kind of like Randy Rhoads used to do that.
Right. So you got
You still
two
managed
guitar.
to sound like shit, though. But sorry.
So you got two guitar tracks. So when we're talking about a +9 and -9, we're talking about synth. So if you're looking at your tuner and you're tuning a string and you're 9 cents out, and that's why they call it detune. The Eventide unit will take that signal and it will spread it out by that many cent that you have it set for. So you get the simulation of 3 different guitars playing at the
And
same
in
time.
simple terms, it's a still chorus, is what it is.
Yeah.
Yep.
There's no rate, right?
Without
So
the
there's
wave. Without the wave.
there's no waveform.
There's
so
no
it's
warble to it.
at all. So it's full depth on a CE2 with no rate. It gives you that, and that's essentially what the Bucket Brigade chip's doing in the CE2 is
E2. Yep.
is detuning.
Yep.
And this does it on a much more advanced level, and it does it in stereo, right?
That's fascinating.
But it's a course, really. I mean,
Yeah.
for all intents and purposes, it's a course.
It's a fancy chorus.
Yep.
Yep.
So it's a
There's
modulation.
Tom. What's up, Tom?
What's going on, Tom?
Cheers, brother.
Hey,
Did
Tommy.
Tommy have a question there? Or?
There's Cushman.
More of a comment.
Ishmael, what's
Yeah,
up?
he's making a comment.
So hopefully everybody now understands and they can go out and they can buy everything they need to set up a wet, dry, wet. You're all educated.
Yep.
Yeah, that's right.
They don't offer wet, dry, wet on. I use Bias Effects primarily. I do the computer thing,
Okay.
and they offer stereo.
Yeah.
I have, and I love it.
Yep.
I'm going to shut up about it in an extent because there's a lot I have. I have 30 heads. I've got 50 or 60 different kinds of effects, 20 different 412 cabs, and I can expand on that. It's fantastic. Sonically, it's badass.
Yep.
I can't do a wet, dry, wet. I
Well,
can do a
technically,
stereo.
you could record a dry signal,
Yeah.
and then you have a reamp capability, right?
Yes.
So you could reamp one track with a detune on it, -9,
Yeah.
and then reamp a third track with a +9 on it. And then on the first track, you could then put a 250 millisecond delay on it. And then the third track, you could put a 500 millisecond delay on it. And there you go. You got a wet, dry, wet sound on your
It'd
recording.
be fat as hell.
Yeah,
Yep.
absolutely.
Well, it's the Zach Wild thing, right? Basically, he's running 2 amps, isn't he? And he just puts a whatever course it is in there, and he gets that big thing going. The problem that comes in, I think, or at least I've found, is it gets mushy if you start getting into heavier stuff. And you can hear that a little bit with Zach, right? It's not super percussive, what he plays. It's very wide and warm and chewy and wants to pull you in. I think that's where the dry cab comes in and the amount you dial in of it, right? Because you can have what we're playing tonight, and I know I've got my settings rather robust, so you all can hear them. And I think Ryan's are, the standard Van Halen type, but you can dial it way back. So it's just an accentuating thing that you don't even know is there until you take it away.
Yep. Yep.
Okay, quick question. Of you guys right now, I noticed, John, I believe I see is that a Friedman head I'm looking at right there over your shoulder?
It's a BE 100 Deluxe, yes.
Okay. So it's a Brown Eye 100. You've got a real badass head there. What do you guys notice about your own personal rig that, because you're not trying to get the Van Halen sound necessarily, John. We know
correct.
that Ryan is trying to attack and scope on a sound. He's got a tone in his mind, and he's going after Eddie.
Yep.
But you're going down a little different path, John, right off the bat, I'm noticing. What's the difference you guys are dealing with tonally? What is your end result of tone? Because, Ryan, I know you can kick out nasty. You can make your tone just as ratty and nasty as you want to. So maybe I'm answering my question. I guess you guys just are chasing a tone, and Brian, your end result is because I noticed John has a little bit dirtier tone than Ryan does most of the time.
Which is hilarious because I run half
John's freaking tone.
I run half the gain. I run half the gain that Brian does.
Yep.
Well, but you're playing through a Friedman BE 100 amp.
He's got the EL34 tone, and I've got the 606.
I've got the Marshall tone, and
yes.
Yeah.
And you
two,
can hear the difference. You can definitely hear the difference.
Yeah.
Like night and day. But I'll give John a little shout out. He was a couple of weeks ago. He was playing some stuff, and I made a comment about his tone, and he said, "I don't give a damn about my tone. I want to know if the guitar playing's any good." You remember that?
Yeah, I do. Yeah.
Your freaking tone was spectacular, bro. It was spectacular. I had to give it a shout out, man.
Yep.
I
appreciate it, man.
See, here's the funny thing is, I might play a riff for a song, and you're like, "Man, that sounds just like it." But then John might play that riff, and it sounds totally different. But you're like, "Man, that sounds just like it." Because of that core kind of wet, dry, wet thing. And it's a tone that you can kind of really blend into different stuff. I've done shorts. I've done shorts where I've played, like a little solo to Pink Floyd, "Comfortably Numb," and it's like, man, that really fits in there. That sounds good. You would have never thought that dude's running an Eddie tone, because it just kind of fits into the mix.
I imagine after a while of doing the wet, dry, wet thing, you guys, you get to where you can pick because you're dealing with 3 different tones essentially. And I guess you get where you can just pick one out a little bit more, and you think, man, I just want to swing this a little bit up and down. I bet you guys go crazy. It gives you a lot of knobs to turn and options to play with.
That was the kind of thing with me, is I was chasing, like you said, that one particular tone. And once I hit it, I was like, I'm done. You
had the aha moment.
Yep.
Same.
Dude, that's cool.
As far as gear goes, like effects and all that stuff, I'm done. Completely done. Because I have enough, right? And I mean, I haven't even done my front end effects that Ryan was talking about. Like I've got the phaser and the flanger and all that stuff. I've just got to rework. Because I was building a live pedal board. And, being involved with Ryan and stuff is kind of, I'm happy to commit all of my energy to this and doing this full time. So I've got to build another board. So, I have multiple overdrives and all the rest of it to attack my clean tone, but the core tone is done. That's it. I don't care what delay pedal comes out. I don't care what I have an amp. I mean, I'm done. I've got the best amp in the world as far as I'm concerned for me. And my Sir is coming back apparently. So
let's hear you strike a couple chords.
Well, go ahead, Ryan. You want me to go? It's up to you.
Doesn't matter. I can kind of demonstrate just like, I've got I'm going to turn it all the way up and just kind of give you the full bore, sound of it. And then I'll run the volume down and do something different. And you can see how it kind of cleans up and how the clarity is there.
Yeah.
Let me do a little.
Show us the difference there.
Little drop D something. We were talking about Zach Wild a little earlier, so I'll do something that some people have said sounds kind of Zach Wildish.
It's inspired.
That was freaking excellent, brother.
So you can kind of hear how, if I'm playing something completely, not Van Halen, is that a Van Halen tone, or is that just a really badass tone,
Weird how that works, isn't it?
Yeah. So, taking that and then just controlling the volume on a guitar, let me play something that everybody's kind of familiar with. Let's see. So just simply turning the volume down, you've got a whole nother tone, right? Mm-hmm. So it's very versatile.
Do us a favor. Dial it back, play a few, and then dial it up and let us hear it grow, if you would.
Okay. So let's see. I can do... let me do something here. There you go.
Beautiful, man.
Awesome, brother.
Beautiful.
So,
I would imagine, by the way, that's a freaking beautiful guitar. I'll just point that out. I believe I saw a roasted maple neck on it.
That's my
Look at this thing.
Purple Quilt Wolfgang Special.
Oh, my goodness. So those pickups are top of the line. They absolutely brighten up. They, you can control them. They have multiple tones you can get out of them.
Oh, yeah. Wow. A lot of versatility out of these Wolfgangs, man.
Spectacular, brother.
I've really, really bonded with this one since I've gotten it. Some guitars you just get attached to, and this one was right away. I was like, yeah, this is a keeper.
Beautiful. Beautiful.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Nice. Ryan, we do hear the difference there. Yeah. Sounds good.
Well, thank you. And then obviously, John has a very similar setup with the same type of detune and the same, well, not the same, but he's got the SDE 3000 pedal, which everybody is waiting on back order. John was able to get one.
I think Bo's got his now.
He knows
and
the guy.
he's got the parallelizer, which is what separates and puts everything in parallel for him. And let's hear how his sounds.
So from a clean perspective, and then I'll kind of do what you said, Charles. I'll work up to something.
Cool. Yes.
So it can go from clean to mean, right?
Well, your clean tone is nasty and ratty, just like a Friedman clean tone should be.
Yeah.
And there's a dramatic difference between your clean tone and your dirty tone.
Yeah.
Love that, John. It's really cool.
And I
Nice.
think, Ryan and I have different tastes and different,
Well,
playing styles and stuff.
John.
And it
You
works
also-
really well together, I think,
Yeah.
I
personally.
think so too. Yep.
Yeah.
So guys, speaking of a clean tone, our wounded warrior has joined us.
Very nice.
Ed, what's
Mr.
up,
Ed.
bro?
Hey, guys.
Edward.
I see you, Ed.
What's happening, Ed?
Ain't nothing clean about me, dude. So
Hey,
can
brother,
you
what
can
Nice
you
to
start
see you,
over?
bro.
Yeah, man.
I'm just kidding.
All right, so the guitar input goes into the amp, and
And then you have the third
oh.
input.
Oh, I like
Which
that one.
goes into where your problem area is.
Speaking of wet, dry, wet, that's kind of how I felt today.
oh, jeez.
Not to get graphic.
Good to see you, Ed.
Thank you. Sounds good, guys.
Right there, Ed.
Appreciate it.
I've been backstage about 10, 15
I
minutes.
know.
watching.
I've been. You saw my comments. I'm like, I see you, dude. But
Yeah. So, yeah.
Ed, I hope you're feeling better, buddy.
Yeah, a little bit. I figured I'd come on. My dog isn't feeling well either. He's been in and out. So
Oh, man.
he almost got nabbed by a skunk.
oh, shit.
Oh, wow.
I had to run out there and grab him before he got hit. So I'm just in time for trivia almost, right?
Hey, shout out Mikey Mojo,
Mikey Mojo.
Molly Walnuts,
oh,
right there.
hang on
You
a
guys,
sec here.
love you.
I've
Guys
been
rock.
waiting for this.
He's been waiting.
Mikey Mojo in the house.
Nice.
Mikey Mojo. Mikey Mojo. We're just a bunch of clowns over here.
We've all been waiting for that one.
Right on, dudes.
Little shout out to our under the bus buddies.
Yeah.
Hey, Rock Daddy in the house as well. Good to see you, Rock
What's up, man?
If you're
Rock
just
Daddy.
joining us, you're watching the cross stream with Halenville Live and OU812 and their crew. We're live here and there. Yeah, we are.
Daddy. Jeff K in the house. Right on,
Jeff,
Jeff. You rock,
going
brother.
on?
What's up, guys? Well, Ed, I guess maybe you are just in time for trivia, dude.
Yeah, that's the only reason why I'm here.
Good timing.
You brought a question too? You brought a question?
Did I bring a question?
Yeah.
I didn't bring the question, but I have the answer.
You said you were ready for trivia. That means you got a question for us.
There's two answers.
When you tested it on me, I got it right away, didn't I? It's nearly impossible.
That's your hint right there. Yeah. All right, so I guess we'll cruise into nearly impossible Van Halen trivia.
Right on.
I'm going to go water our walk, boys.
Yeah.
Right on.
So this is a good time to go to the fridge real quick, have another beer or another glass of tea, or a sandwich real quick.
Or an appetizer.
Yeah.
Oh, hey, Christopher Live Silva's in the chat. Right on, Christopher.
What's up,
Dude, man?
dude?
How did I miss
He's
that?
showing up for
How did I miss
trivia,
this?
man.
Oh, of course. All right, so tonight what we have going to the winner, and there is a trivia winner's email down below. Email me your name and address. I'm gonna mail you a very cool
Sweet.
Van Halen $1,000,000 right there, and we're playing for one of these passes from the Balance Tour, North America Amphitheaters, one of the peel-off kind.
Nice.
Yeah. And whoa, and yeah. So we'll send you out a prize pack of some cool looking guitar picks. The latest one that I'd like is the Charles Green. Check
Yeah.
out.
Right on.
yeah.
I need one of those.
Well,
Yeah.
You can certainly get one.
Oh, yeah.
Charles Green. That's
All roads.
Yeah, baby. We'll hook you up with one of those as well tonight. Plus, you'll get the HALENVILLE picks and the other picks. We'll make it nice and sweet for you.
Are those in the green room with the M&Ms, Tony? Picks?
There it is. Right on. Ryan's got some of that love.
Yes, yes, sir.
Yeah.
I get some of that good stuff with that trivia.
Ryan
Fun time over here.
Ryan was one of the grand prize winners for our 3-year anniversary show about a month ago.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah. Ryan scored.
Oh, Trev's got his goodies.
Nice.
Trev was too. Silly. Why did
Yeah.
See,
Trev
was a winner
one
and-
of the winners too.
I
A
was
lot
a,
of winners.
I was a
Got a
man
lot of
on a
winners.
mission, and this was the one that caught my eye. And I was like,
nice.
that is sweet. So big shout out to Tony for doing this for everybody
Yeah.
in the community.
Yeah.
That's awesome stuff, Tony.
You rock, Tony.
My pleasure.
Yeah.
It's my pleasure.
Yeah, Tony. Jay Turner says that he's waiting for his. He should have his stuff in the mail here coming by tomorrow. He says.
Oh,
That's
of course.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome, Jay.
Yeah, Jay, he's always lurking, but it's trivia time, so nice to see you, Jay. Jay came to visit just this weekend. Nice to see Jay. Yeah.
What the heck is Trev doing? He catch a shark?
It's Shark
Yeah.
Week, man.
It is.
Shark Week.
That is awesome. Love it. Love it, dude.
All right. Okay, so we are going to go into some food and drink style, since we just got back from the fridge, style trivia, Van Halen style.
What do you say, drink?
Oh, that's a great sound. Even the tone on your bottle sounds good, dude.
Right on.
It's got the micro pitch on it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that'd be the Roadcaster and the SM7B.
So this question, we need the first correct answer in the chat that's typed in
Hands up. Oops. Field.
is going to be our winner. Yeah. So good luck. Like I say, that there's the trivia winner's email down below to claim it. All right. All right, let's run this. Good luck, everyone.
Yeah, good luck, you guys.
Nearly
Well,
Impossible Van Halen Trivia, July 25th. Here we go.
Good luck.
David Lee Roth wrote about food and drink with Hot Dog and a Shake off the 1988 Skyscraper album. Eddie Van Halen also wrote a riff that he named after a certain food and drink. Name the riff. Need all the words. Thank you so much.
Such a good question.
Little food and drink. Hot dog and a shake. I think I see it.
Andy Carson.
And
Eddie
he
Carson.
did it right on,
Yep.
bro.
Oh,
Andy
my
Carson.
goodness.
From 2.5 Men.
Very cool.
Andy Carson. You got it, buddy.
Wait a minute. Hold on a second. Is it burrito and a root beer float or two burritos and a root beer float?
You have
I think
Oh.
you have no stake in trivia there, Mr.
Hang
R2.
on. Wait a second. Wait
Oh,
a
no.
second.
He
I'm
brings
the
up a
biggest
good
Wait a
point.
biggest
second.
complainer over here.
This is why I don't
This is
speak.
okay. So that's the first one. This is the first one. This is the second one. Hang on, Andy. That's the third one. So this is what I'm. This is the correct one.
Yeah.
So
I'm just.
Right on. I would concur with that.
yes, we have to give it to Six Fingered Assault. He
See?
Right on,
he
bro.
is our winner.
Yeah, even Kurt 5150 says that is correct. Two
Yes,
burritos.
that is two. Right. So Andy, that is close, but no cigar.
Sorry,
My
Andy.
friend.
Randy.
What do we do with Andy? Oh, I know what we can do.
Well, what
We love you, brother.
what may have happened is that I give away a lot of Andy's
I got Andy's pick. Oh yeah.
picks, so I would have sent him his own pick. That's what would have happened. Okay, so
Six Fingered Assault. You rock.
Six
Miles.
Finger Assault. You are the winner.
Does Tony know where 6 is from?
What? I'm sorry?
Do you know where 6
Exactly.
is from? Do you know where Miles lives?
No.
Okay.
I come from a land down under.
That's all right. Shipping will only be $19.99.
Yeah, Miles is from Australia.
Oh, he is?
Yeah.
No problem. No problem. I'll ship to Australia.
All right, Andy.
That ain't no problem, brother. Thanks for being here. Yeah, man.
Miles is cool.
I'll ship anywhere on the. Yes, sir.
Globe. The globe.
You got it. If you win, it's coming.
That's awesome, man.
So I did a
Yeah.
refresh, as some would say. Tony's channel's got 29 watching. Ryan's channel's got 39 watching.
Let's get some
Ryan,
cross.
you have
cross
gained
visits.
no subscribers. Tony, you have gained 2 subscribers. So you're in the lead, brother.
There you go.
Well,
Nice.
So we talked about this earlier. The strangest thing happened for tonight's show. We planned this show, and I always wanted to. The Under the Bus guys and us did, and I know Ryan, you and the Under the Bus guys did. But so we planned this show for tonight, and Ryan putting up both the stuff for the show. He's got the same amount of subs as we do. It wasn't like that yesterday, and it sure as hell ain't gonna be like that tomorrow.
Looks like you're in the lead, Tony.
Only today. So
I might have to put a short out later.
yeah, exactly. There you go. But no, nice to have you guys.
Thank you, brother.
Having a blast.
Yep, and nice to be on your channel over there, and we're live on Facebook too. Right on.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Excellent.
I need another monitor when you open up the page.
So for those of you in the chat, we normally you can just see my chat if you're here, or Ryan's chat if you're there. But we can see
Both.
at once,
Mm-hmm.
and that's so cool. Yeah.
I was talking to the guys back in the green room just before the show, and we were talking about channels and the brief history in the last year or so of YouTube, just briefly. But I said it to them, and I don't, Ryan, I'm not throwing you under a bus here. I'm giving you just a nice little shout out, man.
Has that become a saying now?
Fucking vibe on your channel. It is absolutely wonderful. The fact that all you guys come together every week. The guitars together on.
Hang on, John. I can't hear him.
Really
I'm sorry.
Oh, you're
Shut
great, John. It's just really super special. It really is, because
Thanks, Charles.
you'll see
appreciate
from
it.
time to time occur, and when it does, we all are very excited about it. I love seeing it when it happens. Dave Nesdahl used to do that with Larry Mitchell and a few other people from time to time. But anyway, I'm going back. I'm rambling.
Right.
I think your channel is extra special, you guys. All of you guys bring something really unique. It's a great vibe. It's a positive vibe. It is the very best of YouTube in our world. And I just
appreciate it.
say that publicly. I think
Yeah.
Awesome.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much.
Well said.
fantastic.
Well,
said.
Thanks, brother.
I think I found a bunch of cool guys to hang out with, and we just wanted to share it with everybody. And some of our best stuff is when we're just hanging in an off air, and Trev will have the idea. He's like, "Let's go live," and we're like, "Okay."
This is content. I'm missing out.
Yeah. So it's fun. It's all about the smiles. You see every single one of us on this panel smiling right now, right? That's what it's all about.
Time.
So it's good fun.
Absolutely.
Excellent.
Yeah. It was very nice when you started to see that you had hooked up with our bro R2.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, man.
Yep. Yeah, I could just tell hanging out in some of the different streams and the chats and so forth. He's like, this is my kind of dude right here. So
From the same place.
yeah,
It's a good brother. Yep.
reached out to him, and it's been a fun ride ever since.
Big time.
Outstanding.
R2 is the I've done trivia here on all the shows since I started, but R2 is the original OG on the rock trivia. He is, man.
That's true.
From Art. Yeah.
That's why he loves it so much now.
Wow.
Well, I learned a lot, and probably learned a lot, R2, of what not to do. Try to explain it, about the delay, but yeah, dude, you're the original one. You did it back before anybody did it.
Can I share a tip that I've learned on the trivia? And this comes from Trev. Trev gave me this, and it works wonderfully. On the delay, as you're watching Fruitcake Tony's show, when he's getting ready and he says, everybody go to the fridge and get your cold drink and your sandwich and all that, go up to your settings and set the speed to 2x. And if you're behind, it's gonna speed and catch you up to where he is live, so that when that trivia question comes up, you've got it instead of being delayed 5 seconds. So, good tip for everybody that does the trivia.
That's awesome.
There you go.
That's awesome.
Never would have thought of that. That's.
But maybe, Ryan, there are a couple people out there right now that are going, Ryan, shh. Tell him.
I like to share the wealth. Right?
Tell him my secrets.
Just like all the secrets of the wet, dry, wet. I don't mind sharing it. So
That's awesome.
But yeah, thank you, Tony. Yeah, I mean, going back to the days when I was doing that with the old crew.
Yeah, man.
That was a bitch back then, because I was the I would call it the moderator, but for the trivia, I was the guy. I was the one that made the decisions and who was gonna, the judge, yeah. And
so you were the bad guy.
And like right there, I would say, okay, was it Andy Carson? No, and then just a little while ago, Kurt just messaged me and he's like, dude, I put that answer in, and I go, look. That's why I hate trivia, man. Because whatever Tony saw first, I saw your answer, man. But it looked like Miles' 6 Finger Assault was right above you. But on yours, it may come up the other way around. And I'm like, dude, this is where people would fight in the chat. It was all good fun. And I mess around with everybody when I say I hate trivia and so forth. Everyone knows what I'm talking about when I type it in the chat.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. No, and there's extras, too. I mean, I collect, so I'm not going to give my last one. So there's always extras if needed. Yeah.
No, it's all good times. Good
See
times,
Andy
With
Carson's
that
comment
said,
there.
Our two did end up with a nice consolation prize, nevertheless.
I did.
So
Yeah.
sometimes the squeaky wheel gets the grease. Kids. That's another lesson to be learned here.
This is true.
No, because what I did was I took a snapshot photo of my chat of my answer, and then
I've got proof.
I got proof. It was my answer, then Mikey Mojo's answer, and I go, look, there it is. And he goes, you know what? You're right. And he goes, I'm going to send you something. I'm like, dude, I'm just give it to Mikey Mojo, man. I'm just saying, this is how effed up the trivia is, and it depends on who sees what, and you can't argue.
It's like Tony says at the beginning of every trivia thing. It's all for fun, and it's
all for fun.
Yeah.
Right.
And in this environment where we all are friends and it doesn't really matter anyways, and you get consolation prizes, and like Tony says, he's got backup picks. If there's a kerfuffle,
Well,
he's always got a shootout ready anyways, a tiebreaker in his pocket, so let's go to the tiebreaker.
Yeah.
Well, I've learned to have those. Like I say, I learned from R2 well, but I was doing. We had a 9-way tie one night, and I was sweating.
Okay, tiebreaker number 5.
I was watching that one because I never had that happen. I'm like, what is Tony going to do with this one?
I'm like, dude, I got like one. I was 1 or 2. I was like, man, shit.
See, that's when you're like, you've got this official Fruitcake Tony used pick right here.
I don't know what we gave away that night, but somebody got the last one out right.
Yeah.
He was looking at the posters on his walls. Like, oh, I might have to give these away. Hey, I got a friend of mine in the chat, Laser Guided, John. He's from the mailing list.
Who's that? Uncle Laser?
Right
You said?
Hey, bro,
Laser Guided.
Laser.
Yeah,
Welcome
right
to
on.
him, bro, brother.
I thought you said you knew Uncle Laser.
Make sure you come
No.
over and sub my channel.
Ryan's
Definitely.
links, OU812's links are down under this if you don't have them on. And we are live on both channels right
Yes, sir.
now.
And if you're in my channel, Fruitcake Tony's link is in my description as well. So, really like to see anybody that's not subscribed to the other jump over. and
Yeah.
hit
Cross-pollinate,
subscribe for us.
boys.
Yeah, help support the communities.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Now, Tony, I was going to ask you, man. It's up to you if you don't mind. That diagram I have.
Yeah.
That diagram that I have there in the bottom to show is how I ran my wet dry wet.
Which was the absolute most complicated way to ever do.
Let's look at it.
It's actually very simple. So
What would Alex say? Bass backwards.
can we zoom this up here?
Yeah, that looks good.
Yeah, right.
Hello?
T-Mobile
What's
with
the
one
amplifier? Why is there
bar.
an airplane in
Man,
your
you need to plug that thing in, man.
You got the zoom on
Yeah.
your end, R2.
Oh,
Can you
I don't know
turn
if I
your
can-
phone sideways?
No, that's actually like a video of the screenshot that I took. Yeah.
Oy vey.
All right, let me try something else there. Continue on.
Nice prep there, R2.
You know, I just
Into the
forgot
green
that.
room earlier, we could have went over this.
Yeah. Well, if it was on our show, I'd be already being like zooming it up, and I would have it all blown up.
No. There's a lot of information about wet, dry, wet. You know, if anybody wants to Google it, there's actually diagrams of Bradshaw's rig that he did for EVH, and there's several different rigs that you can find.
And also, guys, reach out to myself or Ryan. I mean, Ryan helped me do it, and I kind of got it down now. And I mean, Dave helped me on the back end with certain gear choices because I was doing it in a pedal form as opposed to the rack gear. And I mean, I think it worked out pretty well for me and for Ryan. So yeah, we're
R2.
resources. Ask a question, drop it in a video, in a comment somewhere, and we'll get to you.
R2, if you have that on your phone, if you want to hold it up, we might be able to see it.
I'm trying to see. Let me see if I can try something different here. Let's see if I can pull this up here.
Yeah, XM Rocks. How are you, bro? You rock, brother.
His comment there. He says wet, dry, wet is taking 2 showers.
That's right.
He's not wrong.
He's not.
Yep.
See you later, Andy. He's gonna go.
Later,
Yeah.
Andy.
You safe, Andy. You rock, bro.
See you, Andy.
Yeah, Six Fingered Assault. Miles, he is another one that runs a wet, dry, wet, and he says he used the Bradshaw method.
Excuse me. John, it sounded like you were playing the start to the David Lee Roth Good Times. off
You're absolutely
Skyscraper.
right. And then I
Yeah,
remembered
awesome.
that I forgot it. So that's the best you get from me is a. And that's it.
Right on.
How about
That's
give me just a minute and I'll be right back. I got to take care of something, and I got something that I want to bring into the show here.
Very cool, man. Very
Maybe
cool.
it's a
Hey, I'm
shark.
gonna grab something to sip on here. I'll be right
He-
back.
He's getting his leather suit on.
Right on. Zach Thong in the house. What's up, Zach? Good to see
Hey
you.
Zach, how you doing, buddy?
So Ed, while it's on my mind, I haven't got your guitar picks yet. Still looking for
Okay.
them, but yeah, I have enough to send
Really?
our winner for tonight, though. Don't worry. Yeah, they're still in here.
I sent those right at the post office that day.
They'll be here. They'll get here. There's Terry's 3Gs. What's up, Terry? Good to see you, sir. Right on. So while we're waiting on Ryan, we do want to remind you guys that if you need some custom guitar picks, our guy Greg at Legend Picks, he's made these people's picks. He's made ours. Links are down below. Check Greg out. Great dude, does great work. Yeah.
I have a question. Is there a dry, wet, dry setup?
Dry, wet, dry.
And if so, how would it sound?
Like shit, I think.
It
Probably.
would sound like
Yeah, because the whole idea is the wet,
Impressive.
the wet is giving you your spread, right?
Okay.
Yeah. The wet basically takes the effects away from your main guitar tone and kind of
Spreads
puts
it out.
them spreads them out and puts them behind and
Now, hear me
lifts
out.
it.
What if you were in
Okay.
your studio room
Yeah.
and you put a dry here and a dry there and the wet up the middle with a left-right?
My only thought is if it was
It's
any good
opposites
of an
of what you
idea at
want.
all,
Yeah,
it would have been done.
you're probably right. We're not into the
Again, because you want your effects in stereo. That's the whole
Right.
point of having wet and wet on either side.
headphone effect.
I would agree with that, John.
Yeah.
Like a surround sound, so to speak.
Like our next goal for the channel secret update is we're going to Atmos after a while here. So we're gonna have effects like a helicopter going around your head.
We're going
like
to
an
broadcast
IMAX,
in
right? Where
IMAX
you
as
got
well.
like 32 monitors
That's right.
and it goes.
Yeah.
That is so cool.
Yeah. So, Tony, we're talking about the wet, dry, wet tone. And anybody that's been to my channel has kind of heard and seen what we do over there. Anybody that has not, I kind of wanted to bring a little special treat over to your channel and show everybody.
right on.
If you would let me.
Absolutely.
All right, here we go. How about that?
Very cool.
Wow.
Very cool, man.
So not only was I inspired by the Live Without a Net Wet Dry Wet, I so loved that Steinberger GL2T that he had on there. And, you know, I'd mentioned earlier that Get Up, Summer Nights, and all those on 5150 just really kind of spoke to me. So this is something I had to have. So
How
we
long
do.
have you had it now, Ryan?
A couple years now I've had this. So over on my channel we do Trans Trim Thursday. So I break this out and play the same Trans Trim riffs, but they never get old.
Nope.
No,
So-
I do not.
Especially during the hot summer nights.
Yeah.
That's right.
Let's see here.
Nice. Nice. Nice.
Super cool.
I hadn't really practiced up anything for tonight. Didn't expect to get this out, but what the heck, right?
Sounds
Absolutely, brother.
wonderful, man. Sounds killer.
Super cool. Hey, everybody. Shreddy Van Halen in the chat. It's good to see you, Joe.
What's up,
Hey,
Joe?
what's
Right
up,
on.
Joe?
You, man.
Good to see you, bro.
Good to see you, Shreddy.
Jack,
Yeah,
Coke, Jack.
Shreddy
Sounds good to
from
me.
Everybody Wants Some.
Nice.
Yeah, he's a monster player. Yeah, that guy. Ooh,
Big time.
yes, he is.
Right there.
Lots of great players in our community.
Big.
Yeah.
Yeah. Ryan,
Sure.
sorry, John. I was just gonna say that tone that you get, man. It God Almighty, that is a wonderful tone that you've achieved.
I appreciate it. I appreciate
It's
it.
epic, isn't it?
Yeah.
Certain things do certain things really well, and that Steinberger certainly hits where it's supposed to.
It does exactly what it's supposed to.
Not far off from your recent Gilmore upgrade on your Strat, too. I mean, that thing now is just, it's got a certain special something. So there's something to be said for pickup choice. And
Oh, absolutely.
According to some channels, it doesn't matter, but it does.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, here it's just. I mean, this is my you know. Sorry, guys. I don't know how to play it,
This sounds so huge.
but it's way different, right? It's not. It's not the right tone.
But as soon as he stops, it's especially with the headphones on, you got that. You're falling down the elevator shaft. Kind of.
Yeah.
Now, Ryan, do you have a Steinberger bass?
I do not know.
No.
I don't play much bass.
I was watching another tribute band on YouTube, and they were the bass player had a Steinberger bass. It sounded really good.
Nice. I know that I always thought they were cool. You know,
Yeah.
I'm just not a big bass player.
Yeah.
Probably should get a bass and start, laying down some tracks or something, doing some original stuff. Be cool.
I wonder how much difference there is in a Steinberger bass with a trans trem as opposed to a real bass, just like on a guitar side.
Size difference is huge. I'm sure. I bought mine just a couple of years ago, and I love my bass, but the size.
What about the sound?
I'm trying to wrap my head around a bass with a trim.
I mean,
That's
I
a
know
full trim, right?
the only bass Ross Valerie from Journey, he played a Steinberger bass.
Okay.
Didn't Phil Collins, bass player, have one with a wiggle stick on it? Or was that? Yeah.
Mike Rutherford might have had one.
I think
Yeah.
found something there.
He's played the Steinberger guitars. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Those are expensive little suckers too.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Other than the
It's,
Steinberger,
I'll just say it's all about the smiles.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
Exactly.
What were
I've
you
never
going to say,
seen another
Charles?
bass with a tremolo on it. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I'm sitting here quite literally saying to myself, no other bass have I ever seen with a tremolo on it. So I'm wondering.
I don't think the Steinberger basses have a trim on them.
So they
Charles.
don't.
No.
Okay, so there's
There
no
are
floating
some
energy.
basses that have a trans trim on it.
I thought
Yeah.
I'd seen
Oh, really?
one. That's,
Yep.
Now that
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
saying it, but that's the only one I've ever even.
I would think that it would be something that would allow them to just change key rather quickly.
Maybe,
Not do chords,
yeah.
chords and pull and.
I wouldn't think a bass. Well, I mean, you can do pretty much anything you want, but
Mike
I'm not a
Joe's
bass player,
reporting-
so
Yeah.
Geddy Lee did play one
Yeah.
with Big Money Power Windows Tour.
Okay.
With a
There's some
trans
remnants
trim
of
one.
that. I'm just telling you what I'm reading here. We're talking about. Hold Your Fire tour as well.
Nice.
Oh,
Yep.
and Kurt's reporting in with the Primus bass player uses
Yep.
a trim on his bass. I can
Oh,
see that.
nice. Huh.
yeah. But does he run wet,
Kurt.
dry, wet?
Right on, brother.
Wow. Wouldn't that just be crazy?
Right.
Very cool.
Yeah, I've played more and more bass in the past year, this year especially, and I guess I'm actually maybe looking for another bass.
Oh boy.
Just-
Now Tony. What would be cool is I don't know that I've heard any bass players that have a wet, dry, wet rig. We need to get you set up with a wet, dry,
Yeah.
wet bass rig.
I'm
that-
getting into bass effects
Yeah.
also. Yeah, man. Yeah.
Could you imagine like an octaver on a bass and wet, dry, wet? Man, that would sound fantastic.
Well, even some of the Pink Floyd stuff, eh?
See, look at the smile on Tony's face just thinking about it.
That's right.
I'm already getting some
He is a
crazy
turtle.
new tunes in my little multi thing. Yeah, I love it, man. I don't tell anybody, but I still play guitar. But I love my bass. I play my bass more than my guitars. That's the truth. Yeah.
That's killer.
So cool, guys.
You got some space in that music room, don't you, Tony?
It's getting littler and littler. You know, it's getting littler and littler all of a sudden. It used to be big. Yeah. You know.
I kind of hope Tony will do a video of his music room in the future. It's pretty impressive, guys. If you haven't seen
I'll do something in there. Yeah.
it. Very
Impressive?
It's
That's
very
what she said.
impressive.
We'll do a live show in there. Yeah, off the phone. Yeah, that's a good idea.
So did we get all the wet, dry, wet kind of questions answered?
I think we did. I think it was important too to really to not understand it on paper, but to actually hear both sides and how it ends up.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Truly, to get into it and really have an understanding, you kind of really got to do it, don't you?
you got
You got to experiment. Yep. I can kind of give a little more kind of example. Now, like I said, I do run probably a little more dry in my wet cabinets than some would. I'm probably 70, maybe 70% wet, 30% dry in my outside cabinets. But I can kind of show you what just my dry signal sounds like, and then I can slowly add in the wet, and you can kind of see how you can mix it and get different sounds. So
Yeah.
without the wet, that's it.
That's not bad, bro. That is not bad.
Let me turn my room mic off so you don't get the effect.
Yeah.
All right, I'm going to add a little wet in. I'm going to go, I don't know, we'll do 25%. So not really hearing much there, right?
No.
So we'll go about 50% of the wet signal.
No, you're starting to catch it now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So some players may say, well, that's all I want, you know. So let's see. You know, so you catch just that little bit of delay trail.
That sounds really good, man.
Yeah, that's the
Especially with
thing though.
headphones.
Is with the wet, dry, wet, it's hard to get a bad tone. Me personally, you know, here's about 75% of the wet put back in. All right,
Definitely hear it.
Gotcha.
and then we go back to 100% of the wet, which is where I love it.
No fair.
I mean, come on. Who wouldn't want to sit in their
Exactly.
basement
Yes.
and play that
Really
all day
impressive,
long,
bro.
right? You know?
Sounds
Come
incredible.
on.
Very impressive.
I got goosebumps over here.
Right?
Oh, heck yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
And that's once you have played a wet, dry, wet rig, it doesn't matter if it takes you 5 hours to move it somewhere if you're going to play. You don't care. It's like, I can't go back. I can't go back. I can't play through a little combo, or I can't put the stuff in the loop. It's just like once you play through it, it's like you're spoiled. You never can play anything else. It's just it's just so
gotta
much
say-
fun. It's so much
Yeah.
fun.
I gotta say, if I was gonna play a gig, it would be a cabin ahead, and that's it. I can't do that anymore. That's crazy.
That's why you get roadies or have kids.
Oh yeah, of course. Yeah. Kids too. Yeah. They're getting there.
You
Yeah.
gotta think Partridge Family, right? Get
Yeah.
a bus.
Exactly. Yeah.
Did
You're
you
onto
see the
something
bus
there.
that we came in on? I mean, come on.
so observation from all of this. There's no way, is there, to come up with a pedal that would simulate a wet, dry, wet tone, because it's three different sounds that's combined to your ears in the air.
I think
Is
you're
that-
getting confused in a little bit of sense when you say three different sounds. You are kind of
three
correct, but
it's coming
it's
from three different.
stereo and dry. That's it.
Gotcha. I got you.
That's the way to think about it.
Gotcha.
So you need that stereo and dry.
Yeah. So you have to have the physical sound there. Could that be duplicated with a pedal? Maybe in the future.
Well, R2's got his rig, which is all digital,
Yes.
and it's stereo, isn't it? Give us some riffs, dude.
Oh, yeah, R2, please, bro.
Yeah, he can actually play.
R2
Really well.
is a-
Really,
R2
really
is
well.
a monster.
Look,
bent his arm.
I could
I was
play.
shouting out to you earlier. I'll say it again. I forget if it was Quentin or if it was Kurt. Somebody posted something
Yeah.
from you playing, and R2, damn it, brother, you got the chops, bro.
Yeah, he's got some
Really,
chops, man.
really cool, man.
But the way you're running your DAW kind of mimics a wet, dry, wet, right?
Sort of, yeah.
Right.
So there's all kind of different ways to get the tone. You know, it's just all in what you like to hear and what makes you smile. So
And this is the difference between tube and modeler, I guess, right? So, to a degree.
Mm-hmm.
Having said that, I'm going to go water a rock.
Yeah, what
Well,
I'm doing
here-
with my DAW is I'm just making sure that I have an Eventide H949 plugin that's doing a detune to make the stereo width, and then I'm doing a delay, just like these guys are doing left and right, where it ping pongs back and forth. What they're doing is having the pure tube tone just coming through, or I'm using a not an amp modeler, but a plugin that simulates the
Simulator.
EVH, either the rectifier or the EVH, 5153. It's close to it, just to get the high gain tones. And
and see that might bring up a question where people would be like, well, why wouldn't you just run a stereo then? And I think, like we talked about a little earlier, Tony, you asked what was the importance of the wet, dry, wet. Is that with that wet, dry, wet, you get that full tone right down the middle with all the effects on the left and right. So
May I just interject for a
you
moment?
keep that clarity. Yeah, Trev.
And mention the headphone effect. When you're listening to this with headphones,
Yeah,
it smacks you in the
smacks
face
you,
from
right.
both
it
sides.
does.
If you're in a bar and Ryan's got his rig up on stage, you hear it because you're like in the clamshell,
Yep.
but you don't get that same smack in the face. It's more of a swirly boot, right? Because it's all around you. It's in the room.
Oh no, you get it in the room. You
Well,
when
it's
you're
all around you in the room.
when you're cranking that rig and
Yeah.
you're in the oh yeah, you hear it and it's
it starts.
oh man, there's nothing like playing that kind of rig on stage and it's
Loud.
thumping you in the chest. And believe me, the audience can tell.
It makes the rest sound better too.
So Tony, I have that diagram up now. I
Yeah.
found it's down there, so I can show you,
Okay.
and I can
Yeah, sure.
I can give Charles an idea. Can you guys see
Oh,
it
there
there?
it is.
Oh, much better.
Yeah, I see this.
All right, so I got my cursor right here, swirling. So this is the guitar input right here. This is your guitar. What it would do, so what you're seeing here on the top, see how it says amplifier 1, 2, 3, 4?
Yes.
This is a Mesa Engineering high gain amplifier switch. So you're able to either plug and play 4 separate amplifiers or 4 separate preamps. And what John and Ryan are doing is they're grabbing the actual head, one amplifier, and they're using the output of that amplifier. Normally that would go into a speaker cabinet. And you need a resistance, you need ohms. You need something to hold back that power, and the cabinet has that. So they go into a load box.
Nope, that's incorrect. We go into a dry cabinet.
Dry cabinet, well, which would be the first.
And then off of another speaker tap, we just take a speaker tap off of that. So it's similar to what you're saying as far as slave, but we don't want to confuse everybody.
Right.
We have a cabinet on our head, and that's
right.
the dry
So
tone.
that's what I'm going to do here. So the right here, instrument that would be the guitar would go into this instrument input, which would be the back of the amplifier switch. So this would be where the guitar would go into. So my amplifier send 1 would go into my tri-axis preamp, which is right here. I'm circling here. So that output 1 would go into my tri-axis preamp. The output of that would go into the return 1. All right. Number 2 would go into my amplifier head. A separate amplifier head I had. This would be my dry. This would be my, at the time I had a rectifier where I can use a 5152 or 6505 plus. And that would go into that speaker cabinet here where I'm circling.
You
right
say
here.
that's your dry.
That's my dry.
Okay.
Don't worry about these 2 over here. These are just like extra combo amps that you can do with 3 and 4. So I'm just using the tri-axis as 1. Number 2 would be my dry. And then, this amplifier, it says slave on here. You could put it into this return 2, but I didn't.
Okay.
I just used the output to go into this cabinet. That would be my dry. So this whole thing right here that I'm circling, which would be the amplifier send 2, would be my dry. And so now the return output of this unit would go into my effects, which would be right here.
All right.
Which would be, at that time, it would be like my IntelliPitch, my IntelliFX, which was it had chorus, detune, all my effects, the stereo wide sound, where I was able to split the mono signal into a stereo.
Okay.
All those effects would go into this power amp, my Mesa Boogie Simulcast 290, which would split it into stereo, left and right. So that would be my wet. So you have your dry, your wet. And so when you would plug all this in, and see this separately here, the tracks is just showing you. In the back of the tracks unit, it had these 4 outputs that you were able to switch which amplifier you wanted on.
Mm-hmm.
Amplifier 1, 2, 3, all 4 of them. So I would put both of them at the same time. And I purchased this thing because I had different preamps that I was using. The 88 preamp, the Mesa Boogie Tri-Axis, which had all the Mesa Boogie preamps in it. And then I had a head. So my buddy just gave me the idea of like, dude, you're running already your stereo.
Mm-hmm.
You have this unit.
Mm-hmm.
Plug in your amplifier. And then I remember just using it right in the middle. Dry, wet, wet, dry, wet.
Mm-hmm.
And then I started playing the Van Halen tones back then. And I was running this. And this is when I was the only guitar player at the time.
Mm-hmm.
So when I had this going on, until we found our another rhythm guitarist, that was just phenomenal. Just
it fills that void of,
it
of the second guitarist.
and when I would just take off that dry and just run stereo, it felt like something was missing. So I was blending everything, and I was able to do that with the you know, the Teleflex, the Rocktron effects, and even the Quadriverb had the capability of you were able to run how much of the mix you wanted in, of the direct of your tone going into the left and right. Did you?
So I think R2 though, not to go, because we could go down this route massively, right?
Oh, you could go for hours.
Yeah. But I think that's a good example of a more elaborate rig.
Right.
To a point, right?
This would probably be more along the lines of what somebody like Petrucci or somebody would do.
That's exactly where I got the whole. I mean, I was at that all the Mesa Boogie gear users. I was using all the stuff that they were pretty much using to the shock mount rack mounts and everything. If you had the capability, so a lot of Van Halen followers were doing the Van Halen thing, and I found this route, and it seemed to be very simple, and I was getting the pleasant tones that I wanted for being a Van Halen fan. And my guitar player / friend bandmate was like, dude, just leave it on there, because you don't have to use it like really wet and get that detuned sound. Just subtly just add that in there, but you're making your sound just sound bigger. And so I would turn it off just by using the amp switcher, the little MIDI switcher that I had. I go, okay, this is with just the amplifier in the middle. This is with just the amplifier on the sides. And this is with all of it plugged in. And it was just this, once you hear it, it's, oh my, you stand in the middle of the room. It's addictive.
It is for sure.
And I mean, to bring it up to modern day standards, I have a single pedal that kind of does all of that. It's called the Parallelizer by Musicom Labs. And you can mix any 3 effects in with your dry, and it's got simple knobs. Effects 1, 2, 3, dry. And buttons, so you can turn off your effects completely. So you can actually do this in a live situation if you were going to haul all this shit with you. And it's easy, right? I mean, once you get the wiring down, that's it. Get in a level, whatever you want, minimum. And I mean, I don't run 100% wet for mine. I mean, my dry signal is the most dominant signal, and the others are 75%, something like that, right? Depending on what you're thinking. That just demonstrates, though, that there's a million ways you can do it.
There's all kind of different ways to do it.
So your setup, John, is more simple than R2's?
Much, but it's the 2023 version of wet, dry, wet, right?
Right.
Same result, though.
Exactly. Right.
And the whole design around the EVH pedal that they came out with, the SD 3000 EVH pedal, is that you could take just your guitar, plug it into that pedal, and then run that pedal to 3 little combo amps, and you'd have a wet, dry, or any 3
They put that
combo
bundle
amps.
together where you could get the 3.
Yeah, they got that bundle.
Like Sweetwater deal.
And,
ironically, that's not how I use mine. But
that's not how John is using it. So that's just going to show there's all kind of different ways to do it.
But that's cool that pedal has that option to
it does.
To do that, or to route it I mean, on YouTube I've seen like 3 or 4 different ways to just route this thing, and they all sound great. And I'm like, which works best for you? Like, what do you have?
2 issues with the release was the manual's horrible, so they've actually done a revision.
Right.
So people were hooking it up as per the manual, and nothing was working. Right?
Go online, get a fresh download. That book is
phase issues and all this other stuff. And then the other thing was the firmware update. Right. So their first firmware update, and it's great. It works well. I'm running it as a stereo pedal. I'm not running it as a wet, dry, wet pedal.
You're not using the
just because I've gone the extra thing with. If you run it with the way it is, you can go wet, dry, wet with the SD 3000. It sounds great. If you want to put other effects in it, then you're going to start running your effects into your H or your SD 3000. So in order to keep your effects separate and pristine, that's where the Parallelizer version 2 comes in.
Right.
Right. So it's not feeding harmonizer into delay. Delay is delay, and harmonizer is harmonizer. And if I had something else that I wanted to throw in there, they're all separate, and I can mix them together in parallel, not in series, so they're not stacked. And that's the same with your rain mixer, right?
Pretty much, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And with the setup that I have, I can. Well, that's the cathedral delay. His cathedral delay was run in series. I think a lot of people don't realize that his cathedral delay fed into the other delays and got that cathedral sound. So
By way of example,
we could give you some type of an example. So this is just my normal tone. Let's see. It's not the best guitar to show it on. Okay, so that's the first chord of Cathedral when he does it live. Now when I kick in the Cathedral delay, did it kick in? This is, like I said, this is not the best guitar to be showing that on. So let me grab another one real quick.
yeah, sorry to put you on the spot there, brother.
That's fine. All right.
Come out of my paycheck.
If Tony will continue to indulge us here.
That's kind of what we do. So
You chunked him under the bus, John.
That's right.
Take it easy, Dan Gorman, Six Finger Miles.
Right on, guys. Be
Have
well.
a good.
Yep. Thanks
Peace.
for being here. Let me say this before Ryan gets back. R2, your links. R2's got a YouTube channel too, and he's got some hot stuff. He plays a lot of guitar licks, a lot of shorts also, and R2 is a monster player. Grab his link and subscribe there.
Thank you, brother.
Yeah.
He's a mofo on the guitar.
Yeah, he's a monster player.
Thank you, fellas. Thank you. Much love.
Yeah, baby.
I put out a couple of fresh videos.
Yeah.
If you want to see a beginner turn up a Marshall real loud and just get a grin from ear to ear.
There you go. All right, so this is without. Right? And then this is with the cathedral delay feeding into the other delays.
Yes.
Okay, so not the best rendition of it, but you kind of get the idea.
That is
Damn
most
cool
excellent,
rendition
bro.
of it, though.
Sounded
Yes,
awesome.
sir.
Very
Well, thank
cool.
you.
Very nice, Ryan.
Very,
Appreciate it.
very cool, dude. Man.
So anybody that's curious about those settings, that's 424 milliseconds fed series into the then split 250-500 delays on the SDE 3000. So good luck.
Yeah, exactly. You know, I guess the takeaway though is you can do it as simple or as complex as you want, right? So wet, dry, wet isn't all that in the sense that it's reserved for, you know, you can make it work if you really want to.
Kind of start off with what you got, maybe try and add a couple things, and if that's not working for you, move up to the next level.
That's exactly what I did. I mean, I heard Ryan and I tried, you know, there's getting it into a computer is a whole different deal. But I mean, you know, what do you have? And he's got the old school gear. So, okay, so what's available modern? And I think the thing that threw it over the edge for me was the SD 3000 pedal, right? Then it was just a matter of the paralyzer and the power amp, and I was done because I already had the cabs and all that stuff.
A couple of SM57s.
Yeah.
Yeah, I tried to keep mine as true as I could to what, you know, Eddie used to use. So,
and it sounds exactly like it. So
those old school SD 3000s, man, I found a pair of those and I snatched those up because I never imagined that anybody would ever re-release a version of the SD 3000. You know, because it's been years since those things have been out.
Yeah.
And lo and behold, you know, here they come with that pedal. I still am glad that I've got the original SD 3000s because they sound fantastic.
It's funny, I'm a member on the gear page. I'm sure a lot of you guys are. And they have, I'm just looking at it now, we're something like 39 pages in. And so many guys are like, yeah, that's it. Even guys are running mono rigs, stereo rigs, wet, dry, wet rigs. It's a thing, just all by itself. And I mean, when I bought the pedal, I was running a mono rig, and it was like, okay, so I can get rid of my Strymon pedals, I can get rid of my, you know, other high end pedals because it was there, right? It does its thing, and it's something that we all love, and it's a big part of Eddie's sound, right?
Everybody that plays the SD 3000, whether the original or the pedals, all kind of say the same thing. It's like, you know, as you're playing, you don't really hear it. It just kind of fattens things up. And Eddie always described it as like a reverb that he was using. And that's really, really, it's what it feels like. It's what it sounds like. You know, as we're jamming out, you know, riffs or whatever. You know, just something real quick. You don't hear that delay really until the very end. You know.
And part of that is, I mean, a big part of that is the 3000, but also it's that dry cab, right? That's what
More
separates.
On your tone, John.
That's just because he's got all of his stuff just cranked right on up.
Yeah.
When you stop playing, like I said, it's like falling down an elevator.
Yeah, I did that on purpose for tonight, right? So you can
Great.
actually
Love it. I dig it.
hear that, you know.
Yeah, he
goes back and forth.
Massive feedback set up.
Yeah.
Kurt 5150. Be well, brother. You rock.
See you, Kurt.
Peace,
Right
Kurt.
on. See you, Kurt.
Thank you, brother.
Exactly, Bent.
See you, Kurt.
Bent. It's like a ducking delay almost, but
Yeah.
it doesn't neuter your main tone like a
Yep.
ducker can.
Yeah, it continues to fill the tone out for sure.
Yeah.
So, I hope that everybody in the chat's been enjoying all this information. We've kind of
You
been
spilled
neglecting
it
to.
tonight.
Yeah.
It was a bit of a download.
Yeah.
Well, we've all heard and done our own, whether it's at home or not, you still know about it. But we've heard David Nesdahl and Rob Johnson speak of this for a number of years now. And as the years pass, you hear more and more about it. But I did think it was a good idea to outright explain it and how it sounds.
Break it down. Yeah.
Yep. Right on.
Stereo setup with a dry cab down the middle. Period.
That's it. That's it. And mixed to taste.
And mixed to taste.
Thanks, guys. Too cool.
We got late people coming in. We got Hit Metalworks, Adam Roach.
What's up,
Welcome
guys?
in. Welcome in, guys.
Wow.
Hey, all right, guys.
Got to start over.
Man. Good to see you.
Sky
Yes.
Prop. Well,
Did I see 7
What's
over
up,
8
Sky
in the
Prop?
chat too?
Oh yeah, Jay was here.
Yeah, he was here earlier.
Yeah, man. Very cool, guys.
yeah, let's see.
Patty Dill giving us a shout out. Says great watching everyone on Fruitcake Tony and OU812 show.
Right on.
Wonderful.
You
Cheers,
rock,
Patty.
buddy.
Thanks, everybody.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
this
Yeah,
has
Jay.
been
Right on, Jay.
fun. So yeah, if you're not subscribed to either one, go subscribe to both. Tell your friends. There's
I
Van
did do a
Halen
refresh
stuff.
recently, and
Yeah.
we're tied now. It's back
Are
up
we?
to 9:59 to 9:59.
9:59.
Right.
Right on. Right on.
9:59.
Nice. But
It's a race
yeah,
to 1,000. Everybody tell your friends.
tell
The
your
Brotherhood of
friends.
Tone.
Yeah,
Tone and Smiles.
absolutely fun. God damn, this has been fun. Let me
So,
see.
Charles, question for you. Are you now inspired to go and build yourself a wet, dry, wet rig?
Okay, so with age comes discernment and the ability to pace yourself, and the answer is
Yes.
I would love to be all over this right now. I really would, and I am. However, I'm thoroughly enjoying. I'm using bias effects. I was going to actually ask you, R2, what are you using? What is your software that you're into right now, if you don't mind?
As far as plugin,
Yeah.
I'm using Joey Sturgis Tones, JST. I don't know if you've heard of Jeff Loomis from
I've heard of Jeff
Nevermore.
Loomis. Absolutely.
He's got a signature plugin called Tone Forge, and I like it because he has a clean amp, a rhythm amp, which is based off of a Mesa Boogie rectifier, and a lead amp, which is based off the VH3, 5153.
Oh, okay.
So
Very cool.
it was all win-win-win right there. So
That's excellent.
so I've even played the clean tones for these guys offline, and it just sounds so crystal clear.
Yeah, it's nice.
And
It's a nice
so what
plug-in.
you just said, that's what I'm experiencing right now. So I'm just totally buried right now in new gear, new stuff. I've got a couple of guitars I'm building. By the way, a shout out to Charles 75N. I'm shipping him a body for him
Dr.
to
Fabric.
wrap this week.
Nice.
That's going to be a lot of fun. I love community builds and community stuff. It's the best.
Right on.
And I am so blessed, you guys, to be in a community where there's so much stuff going on all the time. It never gets boring. The tone is. I'm happy with my tone right now. If my tone never changed, I'm the king. I love it. I
Yeah.
love it. For my world, my ears, it's the
Yeah.
best. It's great. The best I've ever had. Am I gonna get sick of it
That's
and
where I'm
chase
at, too.
something else? Absolutely. Of course I will. That's what
I-
we do.
I think the answer, Ryan, to your question is ultimately going to be yes.
Yep.
And somebody made the comment about it. Good to talk about the expense also if you want to build a wet, dry, wet rig. But I don't think Charles is going to build one, Ryan. I think he's just going to go out and get one.
Yeah. Well, I think that would be an interesting thing maybe on my channel is to see how cheaply I could put together some type of a wet, dry, wet rig without breaking the bank, you know.
Right? And you do it on a $500 budget.
I've got some
Yeah.
ideas.
Don't say
And I've already-
$500.
R2, did you say $500? You could go wet, dry,
That
wet
was
for
me.
$500.
Sorry.
That was Trev.
I mean, I guess even still, the cheapest setup I've seen so far was on another fellow's channel where he hooked up his new SD 3,000 pedal to 3 of those little 9-volt battery operated crappy little Marshalls. And
Is that Laz?
You know, Laz has already done that then, hadn't he?
Right?
Yeah.
He got the little microamps.
You're still looking
So-
at $1,000 there.
You know,
It's-
I would be curious to see what that would sound like if you actually mic'd it up. You know, I've got
Yeah,
three
properly.
SM57s. Mic them up and
Mic
see
'em
what
up
it
and
sounds
just-
like for science. For science,
Yeah.
right? Sounds
Be a
like
fun experiment.
yeah,
I
for sure.
will say this: that the way that gear is just at a geometric rate is expanding in our world. What is it going to be like even 5 years from now?
Yeah, man.
I mean, it's really overwhelming, you guys. It really is.
Yep. A lot of cool stuff. A lot of cool stuff.
Too much cool stuff. Never too much. Never too much. Very cool.
The love of gear.
Oh, hey, Jimmy Ray Hawkins, I see you, and I want to thank you again one more time, my brother.
What's up, Jimmy Ray?
What's up, Jimmy
Hey,
Ray?
brother.
Blessed me. He won in trivia. He won this, and I've always wanted one, but you got to win these things, guys.
Very
So
nice.
I got a Circles poker chip, and Jimmy Ray,
Great.
you rock, brother. I really
Awesome.
appreciate it. Thank you.
Bent Tom says I'm still gonna want vintage tube amps in 5 years. So
Me too. Yep.
yep, me as well. We might have to figure a way to build our own tubes eventually, but you know.
You know, with
What
the
you
way
gonna
it's
do?
going, I feel everything Tommy just said, and my heart is there. But things are getting serious in the techno world, guys, and the ability to reproduce a tone.
You know, the tone, the tone isn't the issue. It's the experience of having that guttural, organic thump behind you and being able to look at your amp a certain way and turn your guitar a certain way and have it respond to you in a predictable, uncontrollable way, if that makes sense.
I got
A
you.
lot of players have recently just have never had that experience.
Well,
So
I
they're
don't think
happy.
I don't have, John. I don't think I have. Have I heard it? Yeah.
Absolutely,
Have I ever
right?
experienced it?
Yeah.
Maybe. Well, I've had great moments where I've been. I mean, I've played with a Marshall full stack before.
Yeah.
I've played with a couple of nights. I played a Friedman BE 100, just like you're playing,
Yeah.
and that was spectacular.
Yeah.
I'm optimistic of the future.
Sure,
like
sure.
Tommy's comment. He's going to want tubes 5 years from now, but they may make a little box about this big that does it all, babe.
If it has the same feel and the same, you know, sound and thump to it, I'd be all for it.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, that's what we
Absolutely.
do, guys. Human beings, we just make shit better. That's
Yeah.
what we do. We improve on what we do, and if something new comes up, we'll just improve on that over time.
I just don't know that you can
evolution.
take something analog and replicate it in a digital way. And you know what? That may be just me being an old man and being a guy that's played Marshalls and all that stuff all my life. But for me, I will die with tube amps. I will never switch over.
It
And
reminds
every
me
year,
of
I keep up with the modeling stuff, and I go and try it, and it's 3 chords, and it's like, nope.
See, tube amps are like vinyl for me, man. Like when
Right.
when I used to listen to vinyl when I was a kid, it was that feeling. I don't know, the sound of the needle hitting the record, and you hear the tones coming out of the record, and listening to it with my brother. And then you go into the compact disc and digital era, and then my buddy plugs in. He's all into vinyl again. He's collecting all this vinyl, and I'm like, yeah, whatever, Jay. And then he puts the needle on, and I go, dude. And I just go back to when I was a kid, and I go, that's like tube amps, man. It's that feel, that thump, that, oof. Can't explain it until you're there.
Yep. Yep.
Right.
It's like a gasoline engine. They
Yeah,
gotta go
you know,
away.
it's
Yeah,
interesting,
don't get
yeah.
me started on that. You're right, Ed. Yep.
Yeah.
Tone, when I was in the 80s, as far as I'm concerned, in my musical little adventure and quest that I'm going through, they have not outdone, with all the technology, when I think back and remember back to seeing Van Halen in '81, holy shit, guys, that is as good as it got. I don't think they've really outdone it. It's the tone I look for. It's what I want. It's what I want.
So what you're saying is that latest Taylor Swift concert you went to just didn't hit the same.
You know what? Just saying, hey, right on it, brother.
No, Pete Charles gets a mean little growl in his tone. A little growl.
Yeah.
He does. Yeah.
We all have our thing, don't we?
Watch this. Watch.
Watching.
Woo! Yeah,
Killer,
right
man.
on. Woo.
Killer. Absolutely
That's
killer,
awesome,
brother.
man. Charles, you're definitely coming to visit us on our show.
Yeah.
As soon as you're ready.
Just by looking at the expressions on his face, he was serious about.
Oh,
about
yeah.
that
Oh
shit.
yeah.
Yep.
Wow.
That was awesome, man. That was awesome.
And you see, though, that's what it's about, though. It's the smiles. You saw your
Charles,
version of a
after
smile.
after you did that, we were talking about that for days in our hangouts here. We were just like, "Did you see Charles? Did you hear Charles?" And I kept on going. You know, he felt it. Those get faces, man. You were making the faces on there, and I'm not making fun of you. That's one of the reasons why when I used to do my videos, I used to always do this because I was making funny faces all the time. Yeah.
But sharing that with you guys, I literally work. My life is one big work job. I work, and when I come to this desk right here, I play guitar. That's my escape.
Yeah.
That's what I do.
Yep.
Thanks, guys. Guitars are fun, man.
Yeah, man.
Yeah,
It's
man.
fun.
Yeah.
There's so many sides to that mountain. That what we do it's really wonderful. Great time, man. Great time.
Yeah,
times,
absolutely.
That was
brother.
awesome.
Big time.
That sounded fantastic, Charles.
Yeah, it
That
was awesome,
That was
dude.
great. Yep.
Thanks. Thank you.
Nice. Where are we at? Am I missing anything?
209.
Tackle me, somebody. Tackle me. No, I think we're. Yeah, I think
Yeah.
we're.
I think
We're
we're pretty
square.
good, guys.
We certainly do want to thank Ryan and his crew for hanging out with us tonight.
You are
doing
very
this
welcome.
cross
Very welcome.
stream.
Appreciate you having us here tonight. We really enjoyed it. At least I know I did. How about you guys?
Hell
It was
yeah.
awesome,
Yeah,
man.
it was
Thank you
big
for
time, man.
having us.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Always cool hanging out with the
R2.
How
crew.
I feel about you.
R2 and John and Trev, dudes, thanks for being here. Love you guys. OU812 on
guys.
5 o'clock tomorrow,
Thursday,
Thursday,
8 p.m.
8 p.m. Eastern.
We got the-
Sunday, 5 p.m.
Sunday 5. Yes, sir.
We got
Yeah,
the UTB
gosh.
boys tomorrow.
And if anybody hasn't had a chance to swap over to the other channel and give a sub and give a like, please do so.
Yeah,
it really helps out our community for all of us to stick together and support each other.
Yeah, it does.
Absolutely.
And thank
Well
you for
said.
that. Yeah, thank you for that.
Absolutely.
And it is really neat, I must say, that we all come here multiple times a week and we end up just talking about Van Halen.
Or the inspiration thereof.
That's right.
Yep.
Yeah, love it. Absolutely love it. Well, guys, thanks for hanging out. Everybody, leave a thumbs up on the video. Subscribe to OU812. Subscribe here if you're not.
Fruitcake Tony's link is in my description as well. Make sure you give him a sub.
And thanks everybody for loving Van Halen. You know, God bless you for that. Yeah.
Big time.
Yeah, so thanks. And any last words there, Charles Green?
Guys, this is Halenville. Around here, it doesn't matter. You go north, south, east, or west. Every single road, it's going to lead you straight to Van Halen, guys. I want you to have a great week. Be well. Do something for somebody for no reason whatsoever. You will feel better about yourself, I promise. Rock on.
Hang out, guys.
No. Don't take him off. Don't take him off. Leave him on. Leave him on.
I like the way the line on the back of your stockings goes out. Is there anything left in that bottle?
Is it 5150 time yet?
Ryan, you make that guitar sound so good. Oh, thank you. I appreciate it.